Let's talk about projection methods here in Cinema 4D. So the first thing I'm going to do is drop a cube into the scene. Let's go ahead and drop a cylinder into the scene. Move that out a little bit and get these lined up a little bit better. Let's get a sphere. Pull that guy over. And let's drop a plane in the scene. And pull him over here. And we'll just get all this lined up a little bit better. Okay, so what I want to do now is go ahead and create a new material. Double clicking. I'm going to double click the material. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to load a texture by clicking on the three dots here. And I'm going to grab this texture and I'll say no. Now, when you have a texture, again, you can go into the texture here and you can play around with some different options. Exposure, black point, white point. Most of the time, you're not going to have any need to mess around with these. We go back up. We can control the mix mode. So this is very similar to what you're going to find in Photoshop. Get these different options. So select whatever you want. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to drop this on my cube. Now, I'm going to just move over here. Let's see what's going on here. So if we look over here in the projection method, we have UVW mapping selected. And it has taken and put the bitmap on every side of the cube. So we can just spin around that real quick and see that it has indeed done that. Now, it's done that because all parametric objects have UVW coordinates built into them. Okay, so it knows to put this on each side of the cube because we have UVW mapping selected. Now, we can change our projection method. The UVW mapping is the default mapping, but if we come over here and change this to something like spherical, you can see we get a very different result. All right, and this would probably make more sense for a sphere. Let's go ahead and change that to cylindrical. And we can see that we're getting something like that. So we have a lot of different projection methods here. We could select flat. If you look at flat, it's sort of sticking it on the front here and pushing it through the cube. Now let's go ahead and take that and put it back to UVW mapping or cubic. Cubic works fine too. And let's take the bitmap and put it on our cylinder. Now again, we have UVW mapping selected. That's probably not the best projection method. So let's go ahead and try cylindrical. And now we're getting a much better result. Let's come over here to our sphere. Let's put that on that. And that's what UVW looks like. Let's go ahead and try spherical and see what we get there. And it's basically the same. Okay, so let's do something a little bit different here for the plane. So I'm going to go ahead and double click, create a new material, and let's get something like this color. We're going to take that and we're just going to put that on the plane. So I've got it up here. We've got our texture tag. And then I'm going to take the texture, put it on the plane as well. And I want to go with flat as the projection method. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on this icon right here, which is my texture tag. And you can see I get this little grid right here. Now, if I click on the axis tool, I can come over here now and scale that down. Now I could also come over here with my move tool and sort of move that around, left and right, up and down. But what's happening right now is that my texture is being tiled along the surface of this. So what I want to do is come over here, select that material and uncheck tile. And now I've got this just here in the middle. In addition, if we wanted to come over here and rotate this, we could do that as well and get some different results, but we don't want to do that. But basically, if you wanted to create a decal on an object, this is the way that you would go about doing it. Okay, so if we put that there, we click on our render view, you can see that we have this going on. And again, we have our texture in flat projection mode, so it's basically pushing itself through the object here. And to kind of show you that a little bit better, if we just flip around, we can see that we have our logo here backwards because it's being pushed through it. All right. So if we click on the texture tag again, we have some more options down here. We have offset U, which allows us to make this manual. And we can push this down. The length, we can control that. But most of this can be handled interactively right here in the viewport. Okay, so that's the basics of the projection methods here in Cinema 4D.